first of all, thank you for having me. It is truly an honor. But you know what? The truth is, I saved the best day in the entire year for you. Valentine's Day.
That is true.
I'm here on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, for sure. You know what? It's funny because I just took Kristen. Well, actually, it was Kristen's idea. She said, let's go to Melting Pot. So we went to the Melting Pot. Was it Sunday? We've been to 5-star restaurants cheaper.
Well, Melting Pot is the best date night for Valentine's Day because you get to dip the hearts and the chocolates and everything. The fruits in the chocolate.
Yes.
Right? For those
we did all that. And it was great.
Yeah.
It was definitely we had a great time. And the best meal, our server was cool as hell. I kept teasing him. And, but yeah, like by the time I tipped, it was like $330.
You spent $330 at the Melting Pot?
Is that not normal? Because we haven't been there in years. And I'm like, how is this $330 with the tip? Like, I think I did tip him like 60, you know. So that's before nice. That, it was, you know, I mean, I'm not into crypto. I don't do math. But yeah, it was pricey. I only had like 2 scotches and she had a couple big ass glasses of wine. So that was probably the bulk of it. They brought her 2 giant buckets full of Cabernet. It's a holiday.
Once you start putting alcohol in there, it adds up quick. And for those of you who don't know, if you don't live in the States, the Melting Pot is a fondue restaurant. So they bring these pots of like melted cheese and melted chocolate and melted everything. And then you dip things inside of it. So it's kind of like a cool date night place where you sexy dip things and feed each other. And that's exactly what Crow and Kristen were doing.
Of course. I was so sexy dipping my steak into the pot. I will say though, we've decided we're only ever going to cook steak in some form of chicken broth from now on.
No way, really?
Yes, way. It was amazing. It was so good.
No, you can't always do that. You're telling me you don't like to go to a steak restaurant, have a nice steak?
Well, yeah, sure. If we go to a restaurant, but like at home, I'm going to I bought us a fondue kit a long time ago. We used it once and I don't think anybody wanted to clean it. So we threw it away.
You don't want to do that at home. You want people to serve you.
Yeah.
Especially on Valentine's Day.
See, we're low maintenance. We're not all bougie like you, Mona. You're in Orlando. We're in Cape Coral. We're just a bunch of white hairs over here eating fish tacos and drinking our Pabst Blue Ribbon. We've just become one of the locals.
Dude, yes, I'm right next to Disney. All we do is go around the world and drink. We're a bunch of drunks over here.
Chris is going to Orlando this weekend to do some big. She's got another salsa thing. I think it's some social or something. I don't know.
Tell her to come and find me. I'm gonna salsa with her. I look like I'm wearing a salsa outfit, guys. Just so you know, I'm not naked. I swear. Look, I have clothes on. Okay, just because my framing is weird. Like I'm wearing a yes. Anyways, I'm a good salsa dancer. I think Kristen and I. Yeah.
You should just go to the salsa thing. She'd love it if you went.
We can twirl and everything. I got it all down. I'm very good. I can move.
She's actually really, really, really good. Like she just did that big competition in Miami and she won like a whole bunch of those dances.
Is she Hispanic background? Because she looks Hispanic a little bit.
Everybody says that. And we have this inside joke when she gets pissed off that she becomes Latina Karen. Because like she went out and yelled at some people that were blocking the road out there and she started getting her like Puerto Rican inflection down and I'm like, who are you right now? And I'm like, you sound like we're still in Puerto Rico. She's like, I'm Latina Karen. She was all angry. And so it's become this thing. She wishes she was Latin, but she's freaking Irish. So
no way. That's where she gets those green eyes from. Blue eyes, green eyes. Yeah,
she's got green eyes and you know, she dyes her hair jet black, but it's typically pretty dark. But yeah, she wears the big earrings and everything, and everybody thinks she loves it when people think she's Puerto Rican. She loves it.
She could definitely pass for Puerto Rican. And just so you guys know, the first time I met Crow, it was at the Central in Miami. And of course, like in the crowd of 500 people, there's no way you can miss Crow. Because when Crow walks in, there's like, everybody's looking like up there. And then there comes this little tiny, really gorgeous, pretty, and the first was her eyes. Like her eyes, I could see her. I can see Crow's height and this little petite thing's eyes, like just shining, laser beaming.
Yeah.
And it's like, how tall is she? 5'5", 5'6", 5'5". Okay, 5 foot. And you, what are you, 7 foot tall?
Even, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can imagine this picture, and just the combo is so intriguing. You're kind of like looking up, and then you're like over here, and I'm like, you guys are a very intriguing couple. Tell me more.
I mean, she pimped me out for like a year on TikTok, and that seemed to work pretty well. So,
I would be capitalizing on that all day. Absolutely, she's a smart girl.
Yeah,
100%. You guys are characters. I would put you in my documentary, or I would make a documentary around you guys, or some kind of film or movie or something.
Yeah, we would she would have some fun with that. I mean, I can't even say on air what my wife's nickname is, but you know, yeah, we're very well aware of our size difference. And so is everyone in the TikTok comments, apparently, because I don't know how many, like oh gosh, so many memes. So anyway,
we digress. We digress.
We finally are here. So here's the thing, like, you know, and you had me on your channel a while back, and we were talking about me, which isn't all that interesting. I feel like everybody's heard my story now for 5 years. And, you know, like you said, when we were at Decentral, I have this really weird pain in my jaw. I think I'm chewing too much gum. I've legitimately burned through. Yes, you are. I've burned through 2 full boxes of juicy fruit in a week.
Why? I even caught you chewing on one of your shows, and my producer kicked in, and in my brain, I'm like, Crow, no chewing gum on camera, please. This is your producer.
I know. I totally, and you're totally right. And I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm annoying the shit out of myself, because I have that weird thing where if I hear people eat, I just want to grab a knife and start hacking. So like, I can't listen to people eat, or the mouth noises and all that. Or in like a movie theater, I just want to like go nuts. So yeah, I was doing that to myself, and I've never chewed gum. I spit out my gum before we started this, but yeah, I have this weird thing with juicy fruit. I can't stop, and I'll eat 3 pieces at a time for like 10 minutes, and then I'll replace them, and I just keep going and going and going. So anyway, but like my jaw's hurting.
You know how I know you're old school? You chew on juicy fruit.
Yes, like my grandfather did when I was like 3 or 5. He always had a pack in his dresser. So one of these days we're gonna do a face-to-face, and it's gonna be a riot, because we're gonna get some drinks.
Can we have Kristen too? Huh? You be in the middle, and then Kristen and I, both of us.
Oh, you know what? That would be an absolute riot.
Oh, everybody's gonna tune in then.
Yeah,
aren't you guys?
I'm sure, and I'm sure the comments would be quite interesting afterwards as well, like they were last time. So yeah, I was sitting on that panel, and I remember just watching you walk in, and you had this like pink suit, and like gym shoes, right? Like, I want to look professional, but I want to get where I want to go fast. It was like, I don't want to miss the story. Like, wherever the action is, I'm going to be there. And then you had this, your partner, your somebody from your work or whatever, and you guys were like this little tag team duo or whatever. And I was just like, this chick's looking for dirt. Like, I just had this thing where I'm like, she's like, who is she? Because she looks way too professional for a crypto thing. And I was just like, I had this whole preconceived notion as to who I thought you were and like what you were about. And then sure enough, and that woman was like just starting to attack BitBoy, and and of course he takes the stage and like wants to set the world on fire, and I'm like, dude, just chill, let it go, like, relax. And it's like, I get it, but boy, you were right there, like, I got this shit, I'm ready to go. And so like later, and
front row recording live, here we come. That's exactly why I said in front row.
And that was wise.
Yes.
I still think my joke was the funniest part of the whole thing, because the whole thing looked like a Jerry Springer marathon. And when I was like, Ben, you are not the father. And that chick got so pissed. Like, she didn't get the joke. I don't need a father. I don't want a father. And I'm like, everybody was like, you don't get the joke. Calm down. Like, but anyway,
it was tough. There were moments we all got nervous. Tell me you didn't get there were nervous moments. Like, I got nervous for a second.
I mean, I don't think I was really nervous. Sometimes I feel like Ben, what do you do when you're trying to do so many things to be helpful and supportive, and you have a big platform that you've grown yourself, and the bigger you get, like I just watched the whole thing about Notch, the creator of Minecraft, and it's like the bigger the game got, the more people just wanted to attack him all the time because of the things they didn't like, and everybody gets so emotional about the smallest things, and it's like I feel for Ben in a lot of ways.
Pointing fingers at whoever they can because they've lost so much money.
He gets so much flack. So I felt for him, and I I think he made the right call because security was about to take her away, and I was just like, just let it go, man. Don't be that guy, he was really worked up, and I know he wanted to be like off with her head because she's just really just attacking him out of nowhere. But he took the high road on that, and he was just like, just leave her alone. And then I think they even talked after the fact, and like other people have talked to her. So it is what it is. But I never really I don't think I got nervous. But I was just like, okay, like everybody needs to just go share a doobie or something somewhere and relax a little bit because,
it's true. But you know what? We live in such a crazy time right now. And unfortunately, when people lose money, it gets very emotional, right, for them. And nobody wants to ever point the finger at themselves, right? Mm-hmm. Like nobody forced you to click buy, right? You made that choice. So I think because people have lost so much money, I'm a former reporter. I've seen some crazy shit. People get emotional, and God forbid, like, I mean, it crossed my mind. I'm like, what if this girl has whatever in her bag, and just like is emotional and has lost thousands of dollars and I don't know, starts doing crazy shit in this room.
Oh, and I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what if somebody shoots? Like,
I mean, she was surrounded by people.
People are crazy. Yeah. And it got a little heated, but thankfully people like you kind of were throwing humor in there. So we were laughing, and then it would get intense. But yes, I was front and center, and that's what I've been taught to do.
Yes.
I've been taught to sit right up front because you never know what happens, especially at crypto events.
Yeah, because if you're the one that gets shot in a freak accident, it's just a bigger story. Right. If you're like right up there in front of everybody else, you become the hero or the martyr. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I never went to film school or reporter school, but I guess I could see how that'd be a benefit.
Oh my God.
No, but I love hanging out with getting to know you and realizing that you do have a reporter's background, and you did do the legitimate, here's my lines and all of that fun stuff. And it's like, that's cool. I have a face for radio. So I just, when I see people like you, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I can totally see that. And then the more you realize, like, you're like a metaverse freak, and you're like all about old school tech, which is fine, if you really want to follow Ethereum. But it's like, we're gonna get you to the third generation, and so we'll get you there. But ultimately, you are a legitimate, like, crypto enthusiast, like all of us. So yeah.
And I will rest my case on Ethereum versus Cardano in a little bit here. But first of all, let me go back to the pink outfit, and I'll tell you why I have a pink outfit. Because initially, when I started attending crypto events, I was like, I'm old school. Okay, guys, earmuffs. I'm in my 40s. Okay. So I'm
She's
old school. So
lying.
I'm
She's
thinking,
lying. She's getting some sort of AARP benefit in Orlando by saying she's that old. She's not. She's not in her 40s.
no, thank you. I am. I don't know what happened, but it's just the matter. It's my avatar. This is my avatar. Um, but so I start going to these events and I'm like, oh, okay, I need business cards. Shit, I don't have business cards. So I go and like spend all this money on fancy business cards. I even got these like metal business cards. Stupidest thing I ever did. So when the first crypto event I went to, it was permissionless in South Florida. Amazing event. You must go, must attend. And every single person that approached me and started a conversation with me came to me because they wanted to say something about my pink sneakers, right? So my pink sneakers became my business card. I was like, screw this shit. I don't need this business card. Everybody's talking to me because of my sneakers.
Right.
And my pink suit, right? So I was
sure
pink
that's
sneakers,
totally what
pink
it
suit.
is.
I swear I was like flashing pink.
Yes, it was all because of the pink suit jacket.
50%. How about 50?
There you go. There you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
50-50. So then I said, you know what? Instead of spending money on business cards, I'm going to spend money on bright ass outfits. So now I have an orange jacket and orange sneakers, green jacket and green Jordans, and pink jacket and pink Jordans. And then I think there's another color too. But anyway, so if you see me at events, what's that?
It worked for Matthew Lesko, the crazy old guy with the big bright suits about government grant money.
I swear it works like a charm. You guys need to try it. You'll see. Just people love shoes, especially guys at events. Like everyone loves shoes, like cool shoes though. I'm not talking about like heels and red bottoms and stupid shit like that.
Yeah, I never thought much about shoes.
I remember exactly what shoes you had on. You had Gucci loafers on and no socks.
But I'm not a shoe person. I think it's funny because everybody else seems to care more than I do.
The man who was wearing Gucci loafers.
I just thought they looked cool, and I thought they looked understated. So I'm like, yeah, that's my style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 7 foot tall, wearing Gucci loafers. We see you.
Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, to go a little back about me, as you mentioned. I'll get a little serious now. I am a former news reporter and producer and for a local channel here in Central Florida. I left news about 5-6 years ago and started producing local TV commercials. I loved news for what it taught me. It taught me storytelling. And I'm very grateful for that experience because storytelling, you use storytelling everywhere. Everything that you do, you are telling a story. In crypto, we're telling a story. In the metaverse, we're telling the story. Gaming is storytelling. Film, commercials. When you write a code, you're telling a story. Everything is storytelling. But the thing about news that I didn't like was that I couldn't be creative, right? And I wanted to be creative. I wanted to have a creative freedom. And news didn't allow me to be creative. News was very cookie cutter. It was very one size fits all. It was, you either have to be left or you have to be right. And you will write something or you'll report on something, but it has to go through 5 different hands. So I got my experience, but I knew that news wasn't going to be a long-term thing for me. So in producing commercials for TV, I found creativity there. And while I was doing that, I wanted to build some passive income. So I started buying dips. And when I started buying dips and I wanted to find the projects that I wanted to spend my money on, I had to read white papers. So I started reading white papers, which at the time, I didn't understand anything that I was reading. But I remember the best advice someone once told me was they said, just keep reading, just keep reading. And I'm so glad that I kept reading. And in reading those white papers, I would decide then if I want to invest in that project or not.
Mm-hmm.
So reading those white papers gave me a lot of knowledge about Web3 and the metaverse. And people started asking me to tell them more about the projects they wanted to invest in. So I saw a huge gap between this rapidly growing Web3 and crypto space and then the masses who knew nothing about it, but they were so eager to learn more, right? And at the time when I got into it, there were no women at all. I didn't know any woman who could not only like understand it, but also speak it and then explain it to other people. So I started using my broadcasting and storytelling skills to educate people about, you know, decentralization and crypto and NFTs and the metaverse by starting a channel. And this is all recent. I started a channel last year. So if you go to my channel, Metaverse Express, I mean, you see I only have 2,000 followers, so you guys can help me out with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I started, and I actually shifted my focus toward the metaverse. I was in DeFi first. But the more I got into it, I realized that, you know what, gaming and metaverse is going to be a lower barrier to entry for people. It's going to be so much easier to lure people from Web 2 into Web 3 through gaming and the metaverse. I felt like DeFi was going to have a very long road to go, and it's going to be very hard to get the masses who are not even willing to hear the word crypto and NFT to self-custody and and take the ownership of and the key of their own finances in their own hands. I think that's going to be a tough road ahead, but I thought metaverse was going to be a lot easier. So I started investing in that, and I started kind of educating people in that area. And I would say I facilitate information between metaverse brands, blockchain gaming brands, and the 99.9% non-crypto natives who don't understand what a wallet is, or what in-game economies are. So that's one side of what I do. But my ultimate goal here is to build a new news media outlet that caters to the next generation, Gen Z, because currently this new landscape of news that we have is not working, and it's done. Gen Z is not going to consume news the way we were consuming news. And I think it's time for us to reimagine this next iteration of news media and what that's going to look like in this digital world. So I collaborate with people, like-minded people like yourself, and projects in this space to create this engaging and informative environments for people to not only stay informed, but also learn about these concepts and how they can apply these Web3 concepts into their own businesses. So
yeah, I think Joe Rogan does it best, really. I mean, he's taken us out of the whole here's a 2-minute drop about some sort of event that's going on, and also here's what you should be thinking about it. And then him taking that and saying, no, that's wrong. People are not as stupid as they used to be. They've grown accustomed to this. They tune you out. They don't trust you. Let's have a conversation that is more transparent about what's actually going on. And the thing of it is that he has the luxury of being able to entertain, educate, and have conversations with or about people that are already popular for one reason or another, right? And as YouTubers in the crypto space, we're from like the bottom up. We're typically trying to educate people on stuff that they don't know exists. They don't know anything about it. And we're trying to generate interest for these projects to kind of help the economy grow. And so it's an uphill battle for us, for sure. But, I think that your talents and skills, relevant to the way you can, craft these videos. I mean, you spend so much time. Like I'm like, you spend too much time on trying to make things so perfect. And I'm like, kick back a couple beers, throw on a t-shirt, and just talk to me, and it's just,
I'm here. I'm doing it, guys. I'm doing it.
Yeah. It's like, because here's the thing, while we might look at things as in the kind of vein that, we have to educate all these newcomers, 95% of the people that are tuning into us are already pretty well versed at this point in crypto, because the people that are brand new to crypto, they're not really poking around YouTube, following particular people religiously, right? These are people who are just casually clicking around. And I feel like guys like BitBoy, Altcoin Daily, I feel like a lot of these channels, because they're so big, they take precedence over everything else, right? So you're pretty much going to start with one of their videos. I mean, because they're putting out so much all the time, and they're so large that everything else just kind of filters down into like a niche, right? Yeah. People like to listen to me because I'm just not about the bullshit. I'm not crafting every video precisely to be a certain way and changing my frames and playing all those little tricks. I'm just an old dude talking shit about crypto, and you either like it or you don't, right? And then you have, so many of us have our own different way of telling that story. And I think, I love your ideas about creating like a news media, or like a news outlet, and have it focused more around crypto. But honest to God, one of my biggest things, I've always thought it'd be great to actually launch a 24/7 news channel that is just covering everything in a non-biased, here are the facts, but it's structured in a way to educate, entertain on facts alone, leaving left, right out of the equation. But, at the same time, bringing people into the metaverse or blockchain in like more subtle, passive ways. I don't know. I think that's the future. So
no, it is. You're absolutely right. And frankly, we all have to realize that the next generation is, if the next generation is going to spend time in these digital environments, and we often talk about what is going to create an ideal metaverse environment and who's going to create the most ideal metaverse environment, and what does that really look like?
Cornucopias.
And frankly, an ideal metaverse environment is an environment where people, you and me, and an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old is going to want to spend hours and hours on that platform. And so if you want to create an environment like that, I need to be able to shop in this environment, play games in this environment, attend a concert in this environment, watch a movie in this environment, have my Zoom meetings in this environment, watch my news. So take me from here to there, to order my Amazon, and then it gets delivered to my house, so that I spend hours in this environment, right? And so I come in from the news angle and say, we need to go where Gen Z is spending time. Gen Z, unfortunately and sadly, is not riding their bikes on the streets like we were when I was 8 years old. They're not on the streets anymore. They're on the digital streets.
Right.
So you have to go down where they are. And if they're playing that game, and if they're watching that movie, and if they're watching the hip hop artist or whoever it is, they also should be able to go and get their fun news, not left, not right, but factual news that frankly is about the metaverse, that's about gaming, that's about the things that they're interested in, and the world as well, right? But we need to bring it all in one place. And we need to now change the traditional model. The traditional model is not going to work in the industrial internet era that we're walking into. So that's kind of what my vision is. And I'm actually speaking at NFT NYC in April on this topic. So yeah, I mean, I love to know what people think, what your viewers think. How do you guys want to consume your news? Is it Twitter? I mean, that's where most of us are consuming our news nowadays. Nobody is.
I don't even.
Where do you
Twitter
get your
to me
news?
is. I just look at news aggregators and I just kind of go through stuff. I'll plug in like, what project do I want to see the news about, and I'll plug it in and see what comes up. And I even thought the other day about maybe setting up my own RSS reader and just like pumping it full of stuff, and then just creating my own aggregate for news. Because Twitter to me, I don't know, a lot of the way social media is to me, it's so toxic, right? I mean, and it's not. it's not so much about like the facts. It's not so much about the news. It's about the snarky comments and the, the finger pointing and the tribalism, because a big part of the news is also the community engagement, right? And how the community engages with that news. And it's like the loudest people are almost always the most negative, right? Or well, the most negative are generally the most loud. And so it takes over any positive sentiment. I mean, look at the Mr. Beast, he just helped 1,000 people see, and all these crazy people are like giving him hell for it. It's like, it's so disgusting. So, I would like to think that there's, I don't know. I'd like to think that there's a way to bring, and the other part of that is that just the instant gratification, this constantly like scroll up for 2 seconds, scroll up for 2 seconds. You're paying 2 seconds, 5 seconds attention to figure out, is this important? Is this good? Is this what I want? And there's so much to that. I almost feel like news at some point is almost going to be like a passive stream. Like it's not even going to be a deliberate intent to like search for or watch it. It's just going to be something you're hearing passively while you're shooting ogres in a virtual world somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? And that's okay too. But I don't know. Like everything that you were saying, I was thinking Cornucopias, and then I'm thinking, okay, so when I'm in Cornucopias and I'm building my islands or I'm building my land, I'd love to have a steady news stream of like maybe my Twitter account or my Facebook account or my Soblox account, maybe at that point where I can just kind of passively see, ding, this is happening. All right, cool. And then if I want, I can just interact with it right while I'm like dropping a log for my house, like whatever. I mean, that to me is a real metaverse. And that's how you ultimately create like this fourth dimension to your iPhone, right? And I think absolutely. That's really the goal, or should be.
And it has to have, and speaking of Cornucopias, one of the things that Josh is coming out with, I think they already came out with, which by the way, we should reach out and do I don't think they have announced it yet, but we should get together and maybe work with them and do an announcement, all of us together. They're going to announce their educational world that they're creating, where you can actually learn to earn. Fascinating concept. And I know that they're about to announce it. I don't think they have yet. But to go back to news, remember, news is the first pass in history, right? So news is history. And how history, when we look back to, John F. Kennedy's death, or, just whatever has happened in history, it usually first comes from news. So news will always be there. It's just that this next iteration of it, what is that going to look like? And it's very close to what you are wanting to see. I think that's what people want too. People don't want appointment watching news, like we used to, 5 o'clock, Dan Rather, whoever it was, and let's watch world news. Never again it's going to be like that. We're going to be in Cornucopias, and we're going to be in, learning and earning. And then there's our news there too, where you watch news, you learn, and maybe there's earning opportunities too. I definitely see DAOs playing into this infrastructure of next iteration of news. I see NFTs being a part of it. I mean, remember, news is all videos and photos, right? So I think NFTs have a huge part in this new structure of news. So it's a very interesting conversation to have. Do we know exactly what it's going to look like? We still don't know. And it's very surprising to me that, CNN and ABC, and these guys are not here and building it already. And I think it's because they haven't really figured out advertising, because news is very much directly connected to advertising. And until we figure out advertising on the blockchain, news is not going to come in.
And well, I think what's in the news is directly related to advertising as well. So, or what's not in the news, rather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So first comes advertising, then comes news. But I mean, and advertising is going to be a huge part of the metaverse too. And what is that going to look like? I think we're just still very early. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, because all
Yeah.
the advertisers are going to know everything about you, everything you do in this metaverse. All that information is going to be data everywhere you go, any virtual shop, any virtual outlet, application, anything. So, you know, I mean, yeah,
Don't think for a
I've been thinking
second.
about going back and watching Minority Report just to remind myself, because, you know, they had all those futurists that were kind of breaking down, like, what does the world look like in 20 years? You know, and that's what they based the technologies associated with the movie on. And, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like, I wonder what would happen if they did that today. You know, what do we look
I
like in
mean,
20
don't,
more years?
it's scary. And how crazy that that came out. What year was it? It was in the 90s, right? That came out.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a while. It might be 20 years old.
Yeah, and they already called it. They called it back then, and we're now living it. And I
Yeah.
was just going to say, don't think for a second this Chat GPT is giving you all the information you need, but don't think for a second everything that you're putting in there is grabbing information of you too.
Right.
Um, so yes, absolutely. I mean, the more digital we get, the less privacy and the more of you will be uh, dictating what they're going to sell to you.
Right.
So it's very double-sided, right? But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. We're still, I'm going to say, a few years out, but I want to have these conversations on stages at the events to ask people to kind of give them something to think about.
So
How
what do
do
you
you
think your
want
role
to?
is going to be in all of that? You know, you have these ideas, you have these things in this kind of vision in your own mind, I'm sure, as to what you would like it to be. What are you
Right.
like? What's your goal? Like between now and 2025 or 2030, how do you see, you know, Mona bringing all of this stuff? How are you going to manifest, Mona? How are you going to manifest all of this stuff?
Crow, I'm going to be the Oprah Winfrey of the metaverse. How about that?
Oh, wow. Well, if Epstein calls you to take a flight on his airplane, you might want to.
Is he just rolled over in his grave, by the way.
Yeah, you know, hey, powerful woman, and she did a hell of a lot of stuff. You know, I will say that in terms of, you know, she did pioneer a lot of things, I think, for whatever that's worth.
A network.
But, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, she created a network, and I think those networks will also be needed in the metaverse. I mean, I now, as a business owner myself, having my own production company, I've learned a very valuable lesson, and that is that you can't do it alone. You need a team, and I've always learned to look for the best of the best in the genre that I'm looking to grow and build a team in, and bring the people that I don't know how to do everything, right? But there's somebody out there who knows how to do what I don't know.
I
So
know
even
how to
for
be
my own
tall,
business.
Mona, if in case you need anybody.
Wait, you know how to do what?
I know how to be very tall. So if you need somebody to fill that, I'm pretty
You
capable.
have an amazing broadcasting voice and face, by the way.
I do. I have a face
Your
for radio.
voice. Do you remember Delilah? You guys would not know because you guys are all Gen Zs.
Who's
Love you all,
Delilah?
but we're the OGs. But do you remember Delilah, late night Delilah?
No.
Like the lady that had deep, like sexy voice at night, and she would play you would call her and she would play any music you wanted her to. You don't remember that?
I vaguely
Delilah?
remember something like that, but I never listened to the radio much as a kid.
Oh my gosh, she was so popular. You are like the male Delilah. You have this like sexy, deep, like if you close your eyes and
That's
listen
right, baby. Keep talking.
See? Doesn't he not? Does he not? He does.
I'll be the white Barry White.
Sexy.
What did I just? Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, the movie we just watched on Netflix. It was so good. Was it Seth Rogen? No, I can't even remember his name now.
What was
Eddie
it about?
Murphy and You
God, I'm so
People.
bad at it.
You People, and somebody called him the white Barry White. And I was like, wow, that's hilarious. So anyway,
Wow.
yeah, silly joke.
I
If you
haven't
haven't
seen
seen it, doesn't make any sense. But
No.
yeah,
No, I haven't seen
Well, if you need
Yes.
a deep sexy voice for a late night crypto talk, you just let me know.
Oh, you're in. It's already
Am
done.
I in?
You're
I'm in
already
like
in.
Flynn. So
That voice, yes.
when you say you need a team, I've always kind of, it's like everybody that I know in the YouTube space that are doing really, really well, their channels have just boomed. They all have teams. And I'm like, I don't have a team. I'm just me.
I
There's so
don't know
many
how
things
you
that I'd
do
love to
it.
do, but I don't have a team. And I'm really learning that in order for me to achieve what I think I want to, I really do need to put some kind of team together. And but I am super
Yeah.
serious when I say I would love to have kind of to figure out some sort of news, because like I have a friend in broadcast, and he like does work with different developing networks and things, and I mean, you could buy time, you get sponsors, you lay it all out, you've got program. I mean, there's so many different things. Like when I was in fight promotion,
Yeah.
I was doing time buys with different networks, and DirecTV was that was expensive. But I mean, there's so many different deals that can be made, and ways to kind of
Yeah.
piggyback off of what other people are doing in terms of time, market share or the reach for a particular network. And you're growing your digital version yourself online while you're also kind of piggybacking off of more terrestrial platforms. And I mean, I think there are a lot of ways to do it. The thing of it is, I don't think that like a CNN or a MSNBC or a Fox News, for that matter, I don't think any of these groups are going to change enough to become that future of news, to become that future
Yeah.
of all of this. It's going to be a new platform with new people, new ideas, and the newer generations. That's where this is coming from. It's not coming from these old farts. I mean, all these networks are owned by like the same three people anyway. So like everything that comes down, it's all by
Disney.
some white hair off in the Bahamas somewhere. Like, yeah, this will be funny. Tell them that this guy sucks and watch what happens. It's like a joke. It's all a joke.
Go tell everyone they're UFOs.
Yeah. Hey,
We're
look, there's a
getting
balloon.
invaded by UFOs.
I don't know.
Not
I
start
would
on
love to
that
see you
joke.
do it. I think you can. I want to see you do it.
And I would love to, when we talk about Cornucopias, I mean, I have my eyes on Cornucopias as well, because I think they're well positioned for something like that. I think Gala Games is well.
Uh-oh. I think we're coming back. What happened?
And the right team together. I have the knowledge of news infrastructure. I know what news how to build a news media business, right? It's just a matter of bringing the platform that's already in existence, like Cornucopias, like Gala Games, that have some of these infrastructures like the NFTs, the economies that are already built, and then you bring the news aspect to that as well. So I think it really is about finding that right partnership and building the team to kind of put Web3 news in the forefront of it all. So we'll see. We're in talks. We're looking, and we're still new. I mean, and it's still early. So we'll see.
Yeah, that kind of stuff I know takes a long time. I mean, it's a lot of cultivating a lot of things over a lot of time. So it's not anything I'm sure it's just going to pop up tomorrow. And I know that there was a group that was working on something like that in the crypto space. I know Crypto NDO was a part of it. I think Ben, BitBoy was a part of it. I mean, they got a bunch. I don't think they ever asked me. I don't remember.
But see, here's the thing though, and I don't mean to interrupt you. I actually got somebody messaged me and they said, hey, Ben is looking for a reporter, but that's not what I'm talking about though, right? So they're all if they're looking for reporters, they're looking for reporters to report on crypto and the same stuff you get from CoinDesk, right? I'm saying, guys, we need to go down in the trenches in the metaverse and create digital news in the metaverse.
Right. Oh, I know what you're talking about. But I was just saying that I know that there was a company, and I can't remember, and this was a couple years ago, might have been 3 or 4 years ago, and they were trying to get all of the different YouTubers at the time to start contributing exclusive segments for a new crypto news network, and I'm pretty sure they had a terrestrial deal as well. And it was like a big thing for like, I don't remember, 30 days. And then I don't know whatever happened to it. I didn't hear anything about it again ever since. So I don't know what came of it, if anything, but I haven't heard anything about it ever since then. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think it's a fantastic idea. And that's the thing too. I'm always hounding like Josh and Rob. I'm like, A, what am I building? B, where's the centralized exchange listings? And like, what all can we do in this? And like, what can we build? You know? Because I mean, I would love to have I really want a 24/7 stream. Like ultimately I want a 24/7 stream where it doesn't matter what time of day or night, you can just tune in and you're going to learn some shit.
Yeah. And it's on a loop, right?
Yeah.
It's on a loop. And wherever you are, whatever platform you're on the Decentraland, you're in Sandbox, you're in Spatial, wherever you are, you can access it and you can see it and you can get your news, and you can even build studios. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to give away all my secret, guys. I'm sorry. I digress.
Is there software that would take like 50 videos and autoplay them on a streaming loop? Is there anything out there that does that?
50 videos of what?
Me. Like if I were to take, you know, some of my best videos, because there are a lot of people that love to just listen to me at work. They don't even watch me because why would they? But they want to listen to me, right? And so they're listening at work. I'm like, well, what if they could do that anytime by hitting the same button, and they can just, and I could just be talking about anything. You never know. It could be one of 50 different videos out there.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends I mean, you do have to choose a platform though, because where are people going to?
Well,
to
like if it were
that?
just a 24/7 live stream on YouTube, but that stream was coming from something that was rotating a catalog of videos for me.
Yes, you can do that. Spatial can do that. I spoke with them. They will pull it from YouTube and they'll put it. They can do that.
Okay. Yeah, I would totally do that right now. I think that might be a fun idea.
YouTube and then loop it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll look at that. And then I can just over time, I can even say, hey, you YouTuber, can I throw this video of yours and that video, and just start a whole collection of it's like a 24 stream of all the best content from like kind of almost like an aggregator for the content of all of the YouTubers that I respect. I think that'd be a really cool way to get something going.
And then initially you test it and see, you know, what works and what doesn't. And then at some point you token gate it and you collect everyone pays you ADA and they pay me ETH. And
wait a minute, what'd you just say? And then you can go stake it and never see it again.
Oh God. And with that, we're running out of time, everybody.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. Cause you know, Ethereum, Shmirium, whatever. No, I mean, I'm sure it's going to do fine. I mean, people are going to make a lot of money with Ethereum. There's so much money that's been invested in that ecosystem. They're not going to let it dry up just to replace it all with something better.
Are we going there? We're going there? I think we're going there.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. Not everybody could be Crow.
Listen. I am, you know what? I'll say my piece and I'll rest it there, and then we can run out of time if you want to. Mm-hmm. I'm not against ADA at all, by the way. Just
of course, why would you
be? Somebody record this. I'm not against ADA. In fact, I own Cardano. I stake ADA. I'm a big fan of Charles. I hope one day we sit down and we can have this conversation.
Isn't it nice to be able to stake your ADA and be able to pull it out whenever you want and use it if you need to? That's pretty clever.
Yes, it is. No, I have, and I honestly love Charles because he's a visionary, he's innovative, and I know that he's going to continue to push boundaries. But to be honest with you, Ethereum for me is pointing to an industrial revolution on the internet, and I think that's where we're going to. Similar to what was it? How the stream engine, right, was the input required to kickstart the industrial revolution. Ethereum's new crypto economic engine is truly, I feel like, is unlocking this new era of economic productivity for the internet. And that's what makes it so exciting. That's what I'm excited about when I talk about Ethereum. And actually, this is a whole topic and conversation to have, but Ryan from Bankless, he's a ETH maxi, and I talk to him often. He just, a few weeks ago, he had a video on this. I highly, highly suggest everyone to go and check out and learn about ETH. I don't even know if I should say this on Crow's channel, but to learn about Ethereum's economics and how its crypto economics allows for achieving an adaptive and natural state of balance, even when stupid people build Ponzi games on top of it, right? And an example of that is ETH's issuance rate, which again, Ryan talks about that. You guys need to check it out. But to connect this to our own economy, when you look at the relationship between the Federal Reserve and the commercial banks, when the Fed Reserve interest rate or raises interest rate, the commercial banks also raise interest rates, right? But the Ethereum's this elegant homostatic for balancing its own economy is exactly the model we need to so that to kind of prevent humans from having to interfere in our own economy in the first place. Isn't that what we all want?
Right.
And if we're building this industrial internet, I am looking at who can help the economy in that way. I don't know if Cardano is working on that, or if Cardano is positioned for that. I know Ethereum is, and that's why I look at Ethereum in that way. But so if you guys want to tell me that Cardano is too, hey, I'm not here. I'm not arguing with that. But I think Ethereum's super engines will point to this revolution. And I rest my case.
Yeah, and listen, I like Ethereum just fine. I really do. I don't really have any problems with Ethereum. I never have. I mean, like I've said before, if it weren't for Ethereum, I wouldn't even be in crypto. So I give respect where it's due.
Can I also add, you guys have all forgotten that ETH is the dominant collateral in the DeFi economy, right? And as that collateral grows in value, credit availability, more credit is going to be available in the DeFi sector as well, right?
Well,
so if
here's
ETH
the thing,
is in value, go ahead. Sorry.
I love my AMG, and if it weren't for a Model T, my AMG would likely never exist. So it is
what are you trying to say?
I just. There's levels to this thing, you know? So
yes, it is. There's levels to this shit. That's what we say.
That's right. But listen, I have Ethereum, you know, and I'm not, like, if I have a choice, I'm not necessarily running out and buying Ethereum. I'm going to pick up my ADA first. And there are other projects that I'll probably buy before I buy Ethereum. But like, if I do a paid segment or something, I'll let people pay me in Ethereum, and then I convert it to ADA. Sure. So like, you know, I mean, it has a use case. Sure. No, I mean, I do joke a lot, but and you know, I don't ever say, oh yeah, no, we shouldn't talk about this. Like, I'm all for anything that improves people's lives and empowers people to make money. You know, empowers people to do whatever it is they want to do. You know, there are some development hurdles on Cardano that makes it a little more difficult for just anybody to grab a book and a keyboard and start coding away and building applications on Cardano. I think a part of that is by design, though, hopefully to keep a lot of these bad actors out of it. It's like you can build something on the iTunes store, which is a lot more heavily monitored and regulated, or you can just build malware and throw it up on Apple or Android Play. You know, and so right. that's kind of the difference to me. It's like everybody and anybody's throwing random shit all over Ethereum, so of course it's going to increase transactions and on-chain data is going to look pretty, but how much of that is really relevant and how much of that is actually good for the you know, the ecosystem and so forth. So and you know, I'm not saying that it's not going to also continue to be improved over time, and both of them are. I mean, Ethereum and Cardano are going to continue improving over time, And, until Hydra launches, until some of these key elements of Cardano launch and have proven themselves viable, anything could happen. But I do think that once some of these major development milestones really kick off, I think the race is going to get much more narrow. And we'll see.
And I wish, I wish there wasn't a race. I wish it's kind of like when you're so early into this that there shouldn't be a race. It should be, hey, what advancements are you guys making? Let's bring it all together because we're all trying to do the same thing.
Well,
right?
Cardano is doing that. I mean, Cardano is establishing interoperability between Ethereum, and they already have it. I mean, you can migrate tokens from one to the other. There's a lot of things that you can do. And I honestly think that one of the main reasons why there's a quote unquote race between blockchains is because it's almost this idea that, well, if the transaction fees to do X are really high on this blockchain, well, then there's a race to lower those transaction fees while increasing throughput, scalability, and all these other things to make more transactions go through quicker. Ultimately, it's like a lot of this race is just about having superior technology that further empowers its users. And so we call it a race, and it's not necessarily a tortoise versus the hare kind of thing, but it's like who is going to empower the public more to achieve more with the least amount of friction. And I think that ultimately is the race. In my view, some people are just like, well, I hold all Ethereum and Cardano can go to hell. And some people are the other way and vice versa. I'm not really like that. I think people should absolutely invest into and buy absolutely anything that they are passionate about and will continue to fuel their own education through it. It doesn't matter what that is, even if it's Solana for some people. I mean, some people love to get punched in the face. I mean, that's their prerogative, but that's just where I'm at on all that.
You have this whole US element too, and which one of these chains. I mean, I feel like there's going to be a government chain and a freedom chain, and who will be in which for US citizens. That's a whole another conversation to have. And wasn't the purpose of all this wasn't a decentralization, and is CBDC what will be implemented in the US and a digital dollar, and then what would the role of Ethereum or Cardano or Solana be then, right? So a whole new topic and conversation that we're going to have on the next episode.
Yeah, we will definitely, we'll make that a point for the next one. Mona, it's been such a pleasure. It's always good to see you, chat with you, talk to you. You're always such a joy. I will definitely let Kristen know to pull you to this salsa thing when she gets down to Orlando, and I'll make sure she.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot lots of video that I could show everybody, and I'll just basically make your salsa clips part of this interview. No, I'm kidding. I won't.
We're gonna name the title of the video "Tiny Little Dancers."
Tiny little dancers. Do I get to put on big funny eyeglasses and like a big flamboyant outfit? I'll be Elton John singing about my tiny dancers.
Yes, we're gonna be the tiny little dancers.
That'll be a really good thumbnail. I think people will appreciate that. What is today? Is today Tuesday? It's Tuesday. It's Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. It's Valentine's Day every day, not just today. So make sure you take care of your boo every day, not just on Tuesdays.
Take care of your boo. On that note, I will see you guys very soon. Yeah, it's about that time. I'm pretty sure. Are you drinking White Claw? Is that what that is? What are you sipping on over there?
It's Celsius, man. It's Celsius.
Celsius. Every time I see that, I kind of cringe a little. There's a Celsius nightclub over in Florida, or the like Fort Myers, Florida, and every time I walk by that, I'm like, oh, Celsius, such a bad taste.
Oh, my nightclub days are over. Nowadays, I like a nice dinner, some melting pot, some fondue.
Yes. Yeah, at home in bed by like 8:30 after a really long night.
Let's not even go there. He's being sarcastic, making fun of me, by the way.
Because we go out and we're home and like just ready to watch Netflix by like 10 o'clock. And it's like, that's when all the young people are just getting out to the bars and the nightclubs and wherever else you are. So I hear you. I tease you, but we're not too far off. So Mona, it's been a pleasure. I will see you, chat with you very soon. The rest of you guys, crow your coins. Have a fantastic week. And I will see you soon as well. All right, cool. That was cool.